Okay, guys, let's get it on with Stuart Baird and Star Trek Nemesis. Now, if you're a big Star Trek fan like me, you do know the history. You do know what happened with the director Stuart Baird and Star Trek Nemesis. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're in for a treat. You're in for a ride. So Nemesis, Star Trek Nemesis, released in 2002, 23 years ago, might as well say, right? This was not supposed to be the last Next Generation film. It wasn't scheduled. Paramount, the powers that be, didn't say, "Oh, we're definitely going to do a swan song for the Next Gen crew." But because of the failure, the absolute critical and box office failure, they decided to pull the plug for a while, and they let Star Trek rest for quite a long time. So when you look at it like that, when you factor in the causation of this, all the causalities of how Stuart Baird did his job or didn't do his job. And let's get this clear. There was also script problems. There was many sort of elements, maybe creative elements you could point to. But for this video and for my sort of focus and my money here, Stuart Baird has got to be one of the primary causes of the failure, because there are script problems in many, maybe many movies, but with a good director, they can change that. They can modify, morph that if they care enough about the project and the movie. Now, I'm not saying definitively that Stuart Baird didn't care about Star Trek Nemesis, but in subsequent interviews, he talks about how he wanted to give the fans action and adventure, and not so much with the character development. Now, there's many stories confirmed by the cast and crew of one of the most egregious is calling LeVar Burton, Geordi LaForge, Mr. LaForge, an alien. More than one time. We know, of course, Geordi LaForge is a human. He's got his, he used to have his visor. Then he had his implants, the ocular implants. So to Stuart Baird, he was an alien. Now, what does this say to us? He didn't take the time to even do a brief sort of biography of Geordi LaForge, or probably most of the crew. Maybe, Patrick Stewart and Brent Spiner, the two big leads, maybe he, knew a little bit about them. I would highly doubt he would call the wrong names or kind of insult Patrick Stewart or maybe Brent Spiner. So that's pretty bad enough. But then I was reading an article and it reminded me, he used to call LeVar Burton many times Laverne. So not only did he get the character name wrong, but he got LeVar Burton, the actor's name, wrong. And I don't know about in England, Stuart Baird is English, but here LeVar Burton's a pretty big star. We know he's LeVar, not Laverne. So it's just crazy. I mean, Stuart Baird is probably one of the best film editors. He worked on Superman. He worked on the Lethal Weapon movies. He's a really good, film editor, but then he wanted to be a director. And I could say that with Star Trek, he failed. Now, he made a movie, Executive Decision and U.S. Marshals. I like both those films. He directed both U.S. Marshals and Executive Decision. U.S. Marshals, not as much, but Executive Decision's a good movie. It's a great movie, so. But there you go. I don't know. I mean, what is it for you? Do you think that Stuart Baird's lack of knowledge of Star Trek, most specifically with Geordi LaForge, with LeVar Burton, is that unforgivable? Is it really like a sin, an unpardonable sin? I say yeah, because it speaks of, again, the man's lack of knowledge and his inability, his reluctance, his refusal to find out much more and learn about the project he's working on. We've all been there. We have to do something, for work or school, and you might kind of phone it in. You might sort of crib note it and get by. But for a multi-million-dollar film, you don't know the characters? I say that's pretty unforgivable. What do you think, guys? Hope you're enjoying. Hope you're subscribing. See you soon.